The hunting grounds of Verath 7 were not meant for the weak. Crystalline forests stretched endlessly beneath twin suns, their jagged branches humming with electromagnetic pulses that disrupted most technology. Here the Keltari came of age, predators born, trained from birth to claim their place at the top of the food chain. Seren Vale didn't belong here, at least. That's what the 4 Keltari cubs thought when they first caught her scent on the wind. She was human, soft-skinned, bipedal, lacking claws or natural armor. Their instructors had warned them about humans, yes, but only in the context of political treaties and trade agreements. Dangerous in ships and councils, perhaps, but here in the wild, she was prey. Raka, the eldest of the cubs, clicked his mandibles in anticipation. His siblings fanned out behind him, their mottled gray hides blending with the crystalline undergrowth. They had tracked the human for 2 solar cycles, watching her navigate the forest with surprising competence. She set traps. She found water. She even avoided the territorial markers of the ridge-stalkers. But now she was injured. They could smell it, the sweet copper tang of fresh blood mixing with the ozone-heavy air. Raka's secondary heart quickened. This was it, their first real hunt, the proving that would earn them their adult names. Serene pressed a hand against her side, feeling the warmth of blood seeping through her torn environment suit. The fall had been stupid, a miscalculation while crossing a ravine. The wound wasn't deep, but it was enough. In a place like Verath 7, enough was all it took. She'd known the cubs were following her since yesterday. Their eagerness made them sloppy, and she'd counted 4 distinct scent patterns. Young ones probably on their trial hunt. Under different circumstances, she might have found it amusing, but not now. Not with her blood in the air. Serene found a small clearing and stopped. Running was pointless. The Keltari were ambush predators with muscle density 3 times that of a human. In open terrain, they'd run her down in seconds. Better to choose her ground. She unsealed her medkit and began treating the wound, working quickly but without panic. Her hands were steady. They had been steady in worse situations than this. The attack came from 3 sides simultaneously. They were fast, blurs of gray and black erupting from the undergrowth with claws extended. Serene moved on pure instinct, dropping low as Raka's younger sister sailed over her head. She rolled left and her knife found the soft tissue beneath another cub's arm. Not deep, just enough to make him yelp and retreat, but there were 4 of them and only one of her. A claw raked across her shoulder, spinning her around. Another caught her leg. Seren went down hard, the impact driving the air from her lungs. She tasted blood, her own, and somewhere in the back of her mind, a distant part of her consciousness noted that this was a stupid way to die. The cubs circled her, clicking to each other in their language. Victory clicks, celebration. Raka approached slowly, savoring the moment. This was the kill that would define him. Then he smelled it. The blood from her shoulder wound had sprayed across the crystal grass, and now, exposed to Verath 7's atmosphere, it was reacting. The scent changed, intensified. It was no longer the simple copper of injured prey. It was something else entirely. Raka's pupils dilated to pinpoints. His siblings froze mid-step, their celebrating clicks dying in their throats. The youngest cub, barely old enough to be on this trial, began backing away, a low whine building in his chest. No, Raka whispered in galactic standard, the word escaping unbidden. That's Apex. Seren pushed herself up on one elbow, watching their reactions with grim understanding. She'd hoped it wouldn't come to this, had tried to avoid bleeding at all costs. But now the secret was out, written in chemical markers that every predator species in the galaxy instinctively recognized. The scent of something that sat above them on the food chain. You should run, Seren said quietly, her voice steady despite the pain. Raka couldn't move. His entire body had locked into a prey response, a genetic memory older than his civilization, older than his species' first thoughts. His hindbrain screamed at him that he was in the presence of something that hunted hunters. But you're human, he managed, his translator struggling with his panicked clicks. Humans are. You're diplomats, engineers, we don't what? Serene stood fully now, and despite her injuries, despite being outnumbered and far from any help, she suddenly seemed larger. You think we got to the stars by being prey? She took a step forward. All 4 cubs retreated. We didn't evolve on a paradise world, Raka. She knew his name. had heard his siblings use it during their stalking. We clawed our way up from the bottom of the food chain on a death world where everything wanted to kill us. Pack hunters that could run for days, ambush predators that could smell fear, megafauna that could crush us without thinking. Another step. The youngest cub bolted, crashing through the undergrowth in blind panic. We survived them all, outlasted them, hunted them to extinction or domesticated them into pets. And you know what the galaxy discovered when we finally reached the stars? Siren's smile was cold. We're the only species that hunts for sport, that climbs mountains because they're there, that looks at the deadliest predator on a planet and asks, I wonder what that tastes like. Raka's legs trembled. He wanted to run. Every instinct demanded it. But his pride, that stupid adolescent pride, kept him frozen. You're not Apex, he whispered, trying to convince himself. You can't be. Siren's hand moved to the knife at her belt, not threatening, just ready. Every drop of blood in my veins carries the genetic memory of 10,000 generations of persistence hunters, of survivors who looked at the universe and refused to die. You smell that in my blood because it's true. She met his eyes, those two forward-facing, binocular vision eyes of a pursuit predator, and Raka finally understood what the instructors had meant. Humans weren't dangerous because of their ships or their weapons. They were dangerous because they were what the Keltari would have become if their world had been crueler, if it had ground them down and forced them to become something more terrible just to survive. They were dangerous because they had been prey once and had never forgotten it. Go home, cubs, Siren said softly. Tell your instructors you met a human in the wild. They'll understand why you failed your trial. There's no shame in recognizing Apex when you see it. Raka ran. His remaining siblings followed, their panicked clicks echoing through the crystalline forest. Siren watched them go, then slowly sat down, her legs finally giving out. Her hands shook now, the adrenaline crash hitting hard. She resumed treating her wounds, working mechanically. Above her, the twin suns continued their eternal dance, and somewhere in the distance, a ridge stalker called out its territorial challenge. Serene smiled tiredly. Just another day on a death world. Just another reminder that humanity had earned its place among the stars the hard way by being too stubborn to die and too dangerous to hunt.